Hello everybody, my name is TJ Scott and I'm an estate planning attorney and the owner of the law office of Timothy J. Scott. I can be found online at tjslawoffice.com. And today I want to talk about probate. And probate is a court process that occurs after you have passed away. Assets in your personal name must go through this process before the assets can be distributed to your heirs. And I want to point out here, probate is voluntary. It is only a process required for the assets in your personal name if your assets pass by joint ownership, beneficiary designation, or if they're held in a trust. Those assets don't have to go through this probate process. But for assets in your personal name, whether you have a will or not, probate is mandatory. And probate is, again, it's a court process to appoint someone to stand in your shoes and to act on behalf of your estate. And that person might be found in a nomination. For example, in a will often nominates somebody to act as your personal representative, or they may have priority under the law. And that priority could look like maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a child, maybe it's a sibling, a brother or sister, or it could even be a creditor standing in your shoes and making decisions about your assets and what needs to happen with them. Really boils down to who does the judge think is in the best position to administer the estate. And so if you have people at the same level of priority who are competing to be the personal representative, you can end up with conflict. And that's something that we've seen recently in some high-profile probates, including here in Minnesota. So the personal representative, or the executor as they're often called, needs to stand in your shoes to do certain things with your assets. The personal representative is going to collect and value your assets, create an inventory of them and file that inventory with the court. The personal representative also needs to notify any creditors that are out there and make sure that those creditors are paid. And we often say probate is really a court process for the benefit of your creditors that your assets are going through in order to make sure that your creditors are paid. So they need to notify and pay creditors. They also need to file and pay any taxes, and that might be income taxes outstanding, or it might be estate taxes if you're fortunate enough to owe estate taxes. And I say fortunate enough because you have to have a lot of assets in order to reach the estate tax exemptions. Even here in Minnesota, the estate tax exemption is $3 million. And after taxes have been paid and creditors have been paid and the inventory has been filed with the court, finally, the personal representative gets to actually distribute out the remaining assets to the heirs that you've either selected under your will or that have been selected for you by the state of Minnesota in what's called the intestate succession statutes. Probate is a long process. It takes at least 6 to 12 months to get through here in Minnesota. More often it's taking something like 12 to 18 months. It's also an expensive process. Probate costs your estate something like 3 to 6% of the gross value of your estate. So you can imagine if you own a $400,000 home, getting that $400,000 home through the probate process is already going to cost something like $12,000 to $24,000. And that's a combination of a number of different fees. Fees like attorney's fees and bond premiums, court filing fees, and it's possible that your personal representative might want to collect something as well for all of the work that they're doing. There are a lot of fees that go into it, and it gets really expensive really quickly. Probate is also public. As I mentioned before, you have to file an inventory of your assets, or your personal representative has to file an inventory of the assets of your estate and make that public to anybody who wants to come and see it. They also have to make public your will and who the distributions are being made to. All of that information is filed with the court and is available for anybody to access. But again, probate is a voluntary process. And part of my job as an estate planning attorney, if my clients wish, I can help them to avoid having their estates go through probate. And I can protect their family from things like conflict and like that court process called probate. If you want to know more, again, my name is TJ Scott. I am an estate planning attorney and the owner of the law office of Timothy J. Scott, and you can find me online at tjslawoffice.com. I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks.